This is Randy. Welcome back to Brain Break with Randy and KeithO. I wanted to tell you a little bit about an experience I had as a fairly young father. My son will be, I guess he will be 38. He's 37 now. He had been watching TV shows and he knew I went out shooting. And we were going to go on a father and son's camping activity. And he was 4 or 5 and he asked if he could shoot a gun. And I said, well, if I'm with you, you can. So I made arrangements. What I had was a pretty good target pistol, and it's very accurate. Unfortunately, it was a semi-automatic, not a revolver. Why I say unfortunately here in a minute. But so we went out, found a safe place a long way from anybody, and I carried him part of the way, and I showed him how to shoot the gun. I talked to him about gun safety, and we never pointed at anyone. Here's how you use it. And he was trying to learn how to use the sights. I kept watching him, tell him, no, you got to look through the sights. You don't pull it close to your eyes. You look through the sights. So this little guy, he shot. The first time he missed the target. Second time he hit it. And the third time he brought it close to his face. I was more watching down range than I should have. The end of the receiver hit his cheek and left an imprint. He didn't cry, but we shot a little bit more. He didn't hit his face again. But when we went back to the camp, he was sure to tell everyone that his dad shot him. It was rather embarrassing. I didn't shoot him. He just held the gun too close to his face. Now, this young man is amazing. He's one of my heroes. He has always been an adrenaline junkie. He likes to do things and get excited about things. He played football. And when he was playing football, his grades were really good. But when he wasn't playing football, he had a tough time going to school. And so when he got older, he wanted to go to a Division I team, play football. Basically, his grades weren't good enough to get into a Division I school. So then he started looking into going into the Marine Corps or Army or Air Force or something. He came back one day telling me he was going to join the Army. I said, son, you got to go back, talk to all of them, find out what they offer you. And when you are finally ready, I'd like you to study. And then you take that ASVAB test, which is the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. I had taken that in high school because it was a way to get out of school for a day. I took it and I did extremely well. What I didn't, no one told me before then, is that I would have recruiters chasing me for the next several years. Yes, they did. I almost joined the Marine Corps myself, but things didn't work out. I didn't join the Marine Corps. Whereas my son, after he talked to all of these different recruiters, he came back and he said, I want to be a Marine. He says, I think that's going to be the hardest thing, and I want to do hard stuff. We couldn't talk him out of it. I kept trying to explain to him that the reason they wanted him to become an infantryman is because no one wanted to be an infantryman, and that he needed to retake the ASVAB and get a higher score. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to be in the infantry. So, making a long story short, he does go into the Marine Corps. After he gets in the Marine Corps and he's doing the training, the things they do, he turns out to really do well at it. He lost a lot of weight. He'd played football, so he gained weight to play football. And he went in to the Marine Corps, I want to say at like 255. And when we saw him at graduation 13 weeks later, he was down to 176. He just looked like a different guy. I'm sure he was starving all the time. All that exercise and was good for him. But in the Marine Corps, they do something called, it's basically like freestyle wrestling. And they run down a chute, both sides. They basically meet someone that they don't expect to meet, and then they have to fight. And they do it with sticks, and then eventually they're throwing each other around. And it's driving me crazy. I can't remember that word. But anyway, he ends up becoming the champion of this freestyle fighting, at least on his base, if not on the West Coast. So the guys in the recon area said they wanted him. But anybody that could fight like that, they needed him in their group. So he said he'd do that and trained to be a scout sniper. He said that for him, being a scout sniper wasn't the kind of exciting thing that you see when you watch a Chris Kyle movie or anything like that. For him and his group, it was taking one shot every few days. He had a very good eye. In fact, I qualified, I believe, 9 times at the rifle range and never missed a single shot at 500 yards. Now, to explain a little bit, in the Marine Corps, you qualify at 200 and 300 yards and then 500 yards. And you have to qualify at all three with bare metal sights. In the Army, they qualify at 150 and 300 yards. I believe I've got that right. My son, just had this great eyesight. In fact, so good that at the end of his career in the Marine Corps, he spent the last year or so managing the rifle range as a non-commissioned officer for the Marine Corps, and even had to help qualify senior officers because everybody in the Marine Corps qualifies annually at the rifle range and in the physical tests as well. So for a boy whose dad shot him, to see him go on and qualify like he did, he went on to become a federally licensed firearms instructor. He's also, he worked in corrections once he got out after 8 years in the Marine Corps. Then he also became a police officer. He's just an amazing guy, loves guns, loves shooting them. He's good. When he aims at something, he hits it. He and my wife are a lot alike that way. We'll have to tell some stories about Deadeye Debbie sometime. But I thank you for listening, and I wish you the very best. Please like and subscribe, and kindly tell your friends and family about Brain Break with Randy and KeithO. We would love to have you visiting and listening and learning from these stories. I hope you're learning something. Life can be whatever you want it to be. I learned how to shoot as a child, but really learned how to shoot as an adult. One thing I learned about shooting was that there were some people that just had better natural hand-eye coordination that I was ever going to get. So I did do some competition shooting, but I was never as good as some that I shot with. I'm content with that because I can hit what I aim at. But anyway, it's fun. It's just part of our upbringing here in the West. If you haven't had a chance to shoot a gun, maybe go to a gun range and have them show you how to shoot one. It's fun. It's interesting. It's exciting. Can be loud. Please make sure you're wearing hearing protection when you're doing it. When I was a missionary in South America, I even got to shoot an Uzi, a fully automatic Uzi, as well as a MAC-10 that was fully automatic that were used by bank guards. I got special permission to do that, though, and it was kind of a thrill. I don't own either of those guns. I've got no interest in owning an automatic gun at this point. So thanks again for listening. Please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Brain Break with Randy and KeithO.